Okay, so let us start with our today's class. Today we are actually going to see the some equations related to the frequency response. So till now what we had done is some things to recall. We did concept of MOSFETs, then we saw equations for current, equations for current in linear, saturation and cutoff. So we'll be requiring this a lot, that is saturation. Then we saw some models of the MOSFET, models that is high frequency, low frequency, and then in this we did large signal model and small signal model. So like this we saw some models, and then we saw two theorems. One is called as Miller's theorem, and the second one we saw is a source absorption theorem. And this source absorption theorem we use to determine T model of the MOSFET. T model. So this was our flow till now. We did MOSFET, some equations, some low frequency and high frequency models, Miller theorem and source absorption theorem. And that theorem we used to actually determine the T model of the MOSFET. So this model we will use as and when required. We will not use this very often. We will use this only in certain cases. So that as and when required, we will use this particular model. Now, let us look at an amplifier and the frequency response of that particular amplifier. So the graph that I am showing you right now, that we will draw together. First, you will draw two axes. One is gain in dB and the second one is in frequency. So two axes. On Y you will draw gain, on X you will draw frequency. After drawing this X and Y, you will draw a curve which is like this. So once you are done drawing till this point, just say done in the chat box. Just draw this X and Y. On Y you will show gain in dB. So generally that is called as AV, and in dB. Gain is the short form for voltage gain is AV, and then we have this particular curve. So once you have drawn this curve, just write done in the chat box. Please use one entire page to draw this curve, because I am going to show many things inside this. Okay, please draw it properly, because I am going to show many things inside this same curve, and this curve is something that you will get back to just in case you go a little bit off track. So this is the frequency response of any amplifier. Now we want to see how is this for a MOSFET based amplifier. So through our labs, that is experiment 2, we have seen how to do the calculations, and experiment number 3, that was on low frequency response, we actually saw how to calculate that FL, and today we will also see how to calculate FH as well. And in the next week we will do an experiment on high frequency response, and then finally go to the multi-stage part of it. So please listen to this part very carefully, because this is the crux of the entire frequency response. So I hope you all have drawn at least this much, what you can see on the screen. Draw two axes. X you show frequency why you show gain, and this was something similar that we actually also did in the frequency response. Now, after drawing this, some important points to note. This maximum gain value is called as AV. It is called as AV, and this gain is also called as the mid-band gain. This gain is also called as the mid-band gain. You can see that for certain frequencies or over a range of frequencies, this gain remains constant. So this maximum gain that we achieve is called as mid-band gain. Now, this is a gain which is AV upon root 2. So root 2 times, or rather 1 by root 2 times of AV is going to be less than AV. So we draw another line here. Now, actually speaking, if AV here is the maximum gain and AV by root 2 is just 1 by root 2 times of AV. So when you draw this line here, what you are going to get here is this line is just 3 dBs below the maximum gain. It's just 3 dBs below the maximum gain. So rather what we do is, first we have seen through the experiment, we calculate AV, then we draw this line, that is the blue one, and then we go 3 dBs below it, and then draw the red line, Many times this AV root 2 is also called as AV 3 dB. It is also called as AV 3 dB, and this AV is also called as AV mid. It is called as AV mid. So that is the mid band voltage gain, and this is AV 3 dB, that is voltage gain which is 3 dBs below the maximum gain. So that is how we show that. So if you want, I'll just draw this little bit nicely. Okay. Now you can see that this red line actually cuts the graph at 2 points. This red line cuts the graph at 2 points. One is at slightly lower frequency and one is towards the high frequency side. If you draw 2 vertical lines at this point, then you can see that the entire graph gets divided into 3 parts. So this part, the line where the place where this vertical line cuts on the frequency axis is called here as lower cutoff, and at a higher end, the vertical line where it cuts the gain curve, that is called as the higher cutoff frequency. Now in this very curve, this region, the region between 0 and FL, is called as the low frequency region. Then after that we have the mid frequency region, and then we have the high frequency region. So this entire graph is actually divided into 3 parts now. One is low frequency, second one is mid frequency, and third one is high frequency. So our aim is to actually look at this and this, that is low frequency and high frequency. Mid frequency was EDC 1, but yes, we need to sometimes revisit the values of gain in the mid frequency region. Okay, so we will use and see that part as and when required during problem solving. Now here in the low frequency region, this gain actually falls due to capacitances Ci, C0 and Cs. So these three capacitances are responsible for this roll off in the low frequency range. In the mid frequency range, all capacitances can be neglected. All capacitances can be neglected. Neglected, what is the meaning of this? All capacitances can be neglected. Neglected means Ci, C0 and Cs are considered as short circuit. They are considered as short circuit, and CGS, CGD and CDS are considered as open circuit. They are considered as open circuit. So that is the meaning of this word neglected in the mid frequency range. And in the high frequency range, we have the high frequency fall in the gain is because of CGS and CGD. It is because of CGS and CGD. Now, you can see that there are two frequencies here, FL and FH, and that gives rise to a range, and that range that is called as bandwidth, that is FH minus FL. So this range is called as bandwidth, that is FH minus FL. Now, just for your reference, we have done some models. Okay, so in the low frequency region, the model that I will use will be somewhat like this. The model that I will use is of the MOSFET will be like this. Okay, I may use or I may not use R0. Okay, so this is the model. This is my gate. Then we have drain and source, and we may have capacitances Ci, C0 and Cs. So they will be there as far as the analysis is concerned. When it comes to midband, the model of the MOSFET would be something similar. So this is going to be the model R0 here. This is my source, this is the gate, and this is the drain. And here we have plus minus VGS. Of course, all these are the standard notations, that is GM times of VGS. And when it comes to high frequency, that time the model remains the same with just addition of the capacitances CGS, and so here we are having source, again gate, drain, and in addition to this now we will have two capacitances, that is CGD and CGS. So here we have CGD and here we have CGS. Now you might feel that low frequency and mid frequency, the model of the MOSFET is the same. Yes, they are the same, but the exception is that at low frequency, Ci, C0 and Cs are there, but they are external to the device. They are external to the device. That is why the low frequency and the mid frequency model seems to be the same. Whereas at high frequency, we are having CGS and CGD, and they are internal to the device. So they come up. That is why the model seems to be different. So once you are done with this, please write done in the chat box. Then we will go ahead with other things. So I'll just write here itself that CI, C0 and CS are internal, external capacitances, and CGS, CGD are internal capacitances. So once you are done with this curve, please write done in the chat box. Okay, Ayush. Okay, so I can see some dones. No need to draw these models because anyways we are going to draw them many times today. So today you have to draw lots of circuits. Keep some red, blue and black pen ready with you. Okay. Let's go to the next thing. So I have just put some points down here. The gain falls off at signal frequencies above and below the mid frequencies, that is FH and FL. Gain falls in the low frequency band due to CI, C0 and CS. This is because even though CI, C0 and CS are large, as the signal frequency reduces, their impedance increases and no longer behave as short circuits. So as you know that the impedance offered by a capacitor is 1 upon 2 pi Fc. So as the frequency reduces, what happens is that X becomes too high. X becomes too high. And that is the reason why it no longer acts as short circuits. So they offer some impedance. Gain falls in the high frequency band due to CGS and CGD. So here the problem is different. X is again 1 upon 2 pi Fc. So these capacitances cause open circuits. And these capacitances, that is at high frequency, this is at the impedance is at low frequency, these cause short circuits. So here the impedance falls like anything, here the impedance increases like anything. So falling is okay, but if the way they are connected, they can lead to short circuits, and that is the reason why at high frequencies also, too much of high frequency is also not good, and too much of low frequency is also not good. So we have to operate in a certain range, and that range is given by FH and FL. So we would generally like to operate in the mid-band range. So that is the reason why we have to study this, since at high frequencies the capacitance is no longer can be considered as open circuits. So this is the problem. So please note down these points. Once you have noted this, write done in the chat box. I'm just going to overshoot this lecture by just 5 minutes. I'm just telling you that. You can write it in short also. I mean, anyways, these PPTs are going to come to you by the end of the class. So the same thing, just the points I have written it down. So let's move ahead. We'll focus on the circuits. The frequency response study. The frequency response study is a mechanism by which these two set of capacitances affect the amplifier gain in the low and high frequency band can be studied. So it's a mechanism to study this low and high frequency. Thus FH and FL can be found and hence bandwidth can be determined using the formulas. So we can determine the bandwidth. Now ideally, so it's a question which comes in the Viva. Ideally, what should be the amplifier response? It should be a flat response. But generally what we can achieve is like this. So FL must be as small as possible. So it should be as close as possible to 0. And FH should be as high as possible. So you must be studying in your PC or communication subjects. There is something called as a RF amplifier. Okay, RF amplifier. So RF amplifier is connected uh, before the signal is transmitted before the antenna. So RF means the frequencies are very high. That is 1 megahertz to around 10 megahertz or even sometimes 100 megahertz. Okay, so I want an amplifier which can amplify range of frequencies which are in this range, that is up to 100 megahertz. So if my bandwidth is small, then there is a problem. So I cannot amplify There was network disconnection from my side, and I am back now. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So, can somebody just confirm for the record that you can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now let's look at the frequency response of the amplifier. So here this capacitance CDS is very small, and that is the reason why it offers almost infinite impedance. And what we need to do here is that capacitance can actually be neglected. So though it's there, it's like almost not there, or a circuit designer should understand it this way, that even before CDS affects my response, even before CDS affects the frequency response, CGD and CGS have already affected the response. That means there is, I have, you know, I have one small toy, and somebody damaged it, and then I give that same toy to someone else and tell him to play. But that's of no use because it's already dead. Nobody can play with it. So the first person who actually damaged the toy first, that person is responsible for breaking that toy, not the second one who played with it. So it is something like that, that CGD and CGS affect the response first, and after the damage is done there is no point in looking at CDS, because even though mathematically it will have some response, but by that time, so my slope is like this, so this slope already the fall off has started, and CGD will affect it somewhere at this point. So once something has already got affected, then that thing getting again affected in a more bad way later on is of no use. So that is the reason why for all practical purposes we use this circuit, that is the second circuit. So CGD is very small as compared to CGS, and CDS is very small as compared to CGS and CGD, and that is why CDS we can take it tending to infinity. So that is why that only difference between these two circuits is that one has got CDS and the other one does not have any CDS. So I will wait here for 2 to 3 minutes so that you can show both the circuits. So here you can see CGD and CGS. CDS is not shown since it offers infinite resistance. Since it offers infinite resistance between drain and source. Infinite resistance between drain and source. So one question from my side, which is the biasing circuit used in this particular circuit? Which is the biasing circuit used?
Voltage
Voltage
divider.
divider.
Okay, the circuit used is voltage divider. Okay, so you all should be able to identify that the circuit that I have used is a voltage divider. So for all practical purposes, This is circuit number 1 and this is circuit number 2. So we will always use 2 and not 1. We will always use 2 and not 1. So once you are done copying with this, just write done in the chat box. What is the difference? Both circuits are exactly same. One has got CDS between drain and source. So this is my drain, gate, source. This is again drain, gate and source. Yes, any doubts? Please unmute and ask. Whatever that comes to your mind, you should ask. Okay. Okay. These are the formulas for CGD and CGS as such. Okay. So if you are on the second circuit, the next slide is the circuit is the same, exactly the same. So this is the circuit that we will use for the standard frequency analysis, and we will gain false again in the low frequency because of CI, C0 and CS. So please observe the positions of these capacitances. When I say low frequency, what should immediately come to your mind is CI, C0 and CS, and at what positions they are connected. And similarly, when it comes to high frequency, please note the positions of CGD and CGS. So again, like I said, CGS is COX length in, that is the overlap on the drain side, into the width, and CGD equal to COX into LS into W. Now, to be very frank, CGS and CGD should be as small as possible. So for bandwidth to be high, CGS and CGD should be as high as possible. So CGS and CGD define FH, and FH should be as high as possible. Now, as high as possible means this CGS and CGD needs to be really very low. If you want high bandwidth, then CGS and CGD should be very low. So if they should be low, then you should understand that their dimensions LD into W, that is the overlap areas, must be very small. Their overlap areas should be as small as possible. So if you want high bandwidth, you need to scale down the device. So I'm using the word scale down. Scale down simply means making the device small. If you want that the amplifier should work at very high frequencies also, if you make the device as small as possible, that means if you reduce the width and the lengths of the MOSFETs, then LD and W will also reduce. And if they reduce, CGS and CGD will also become small. And if these capacitances become small, the bandwidth becomes very high. So it is important to make this CGS and CGD as small as possible. And if you are able to completely get rid of it, then your bandwidth would be infinite in an ideal scenario. Now, I told you that when you scale down, when your device is big, when you scale down, lambda comes into the picture. Lambda does not tend to 0, lambda not equal to 0. And if lambda is not equal to 0, then ideally my characteristics is flat of the MOSFET. But if lambda, if you make the device small, then I get some non-linearity. So you may increase the bandwidth, but your amplification would get affected. That means the amplifier will operate over a very large frequency, but there will be distortions in the signal that you are trying to amplify. So whether to scale down or not, that is a very big decision in analog. It's a very big decision in analog. So that's why we don't want that the signal integrity should get affected, and that is why we say okay, bigger transistors fine, but the signal amplitude should be good. So this is the technology glitch as far as frequency response is concerned. Now let us study the AC analysis of the low frequency. So please draw this circuit. So first we will analyze low frequency. Low frequency means CGS and CGD are open circuit. Open circuit means what? They are as good as not there. Open circuit means as good as not there, and short circuit means you put a wire between those 2 points. So you can see in this there is no CGD and CGS. There is just CI, there is C0, and there is CS. So please draw this circuit. Once you are done drawing this, write done in the chat box. So now we are seeing the frequency response, but first we are trying to analyze the low frequency response. Low frequency means CI, C0 and CS affect the low frequency, and that is why we have kept those capacitances. And we have shown CGS and CGD as open circuit. So please take down this circuit. It is similar. Quickly draw it. I'll give you exactly 3 minutes to draw this. And once you are done, just write done in the chat box. And in the meantime, while you are drawing, I can take some questions. You can unmute and ask. Yes, especially my direct second year students, please ask any stupid doubt that comes to your mind, because that might be the doubt of many others. Krishna Prasad Menon. Krishna Prasad Menon, are you there?
Yes, sir.
I think Hemant said yes, sir. Krishna Prasad.
Sir. Sir, Hemant said.
Okay. When I take somebody's name, just unmute yourself. It means that I'm trying to talk to you. Ketki, why are you on hold? So while doing AC analysis, what are the things that we will do? Short circuit all DC sources. So short circuit all DC sources means what? We'll just connect this to 0. VDD will be get connected to 0. So just for your sake, I am drawing it here. Your circuit is somewhat like this. Okay. Here you have a capacitance, and here also you are having a capacitance along with some resistance and a source. Calling it as Vs, R6, Ci, R1, R2, Rs, and there is a Cs here, and here we have Rd, and here we have VDD. So when it comes to AC signal, when it comes to AC analysis, what do? We connect this thing, we remove this VDD, okay, and we connect it to ground like this. Then we say, okay, oh, so this is connected to ground, fine. So I remove this also now, okay, and I draw something like this. So we have R1 which is connected to ground, and we have RD also, which is connected to ground. Okay, so now we say, okay, fine, this is gate, this is drain, this is source. So R1 is connected between gate and ground, and even R2 is connected between gate and ground. So my circuit becomes somewhat like this. So I start with Vs and a capacitor and this, and then I can have R1 and R2 connected between gate and ground. So this is my gate, and here I have my MOSFET like this, and this is my RS, this is CS, and here we have my drain, which is actually connected between, so this is V0, and let's say we have RL also here. So this is my RD, and this is my C0, and here I have got RL, and here this is my V0. So now the question comes that what should I replace here? Okay, so the question comes here that what should I replace this with? So we will replace this with the replace MOSFET with low frequency model. Low frequency model means what? Coming back to this circuit, I'll have again a source, that is Vs, then series resistance, then I have here something, so I'll just write here R1 parallel to R2, because you can see R1 and R2 are in parallel, and between this I will put the AC model of the MOSFET. So model we have already done. So here we have, this is RS, this is CS, this is GM times of VGS, and you can show one R0 here if you are considering the small signal model, and here we have plus minus VGS, this is, and so this is my gate, this is drain, this is source, and here we are connecting again RD, and then we have C0, and here we have RL. So this is my unit. So this is CI, this is R of the signal source, R sig, I am just writing. Sometimes I also write RSR, that is the resistance of the source, or RSR is the value which actually SPICE uses, RSR. So R sig, RSR, whatever you want to write there, you write there. And this much part is, this part is actually the AC model of MOSFET. So that's how we actually derive this. So I think this explanation is good enough to understand how we arrived at this circuit. So I'm just showing you a cleaner version of this circuit. So what you will draw is this. So you can see now here we have a Vin or Vs and RSR, CI, R1 is parallel to R2, and here we have gate. So this part is like the model of the MOSFET. So this much part is the model of the MOSFET. So I will say pi model of MOSFET. Okay, now I am asking you a question here at this point. The model that I have used is a low frequency model or a high frequency model?
Low frequency.
Low frequency. That is the right answer. My next question is, the model that I have used here is a small signal model or a large signal model?
Small signal.
It is a small signal or a large signal model?
Small.
Small. Okay, that is right, because R0 is present. That tells me that this is a small signal. And you can see there is no CGS and CGD. That tells me this is a low frequency. So low frequency small signal model. And you can see very well CI, C0 and CS. So once you have copied this, please write done in the chat box. So please ask me a doubt how I arrived at this particular circuit. So this circuit is the AC equivalent at low frequency for a CS amplifier. For a CS amplifier. So once you are done with this, just write done in the chat box. Everyone should note down these circuits, okay, because this is how the analysis is done. Now, what do you mean by low frequency analysis? So we want to find out if CI is present and CSC0 is not there, then what is the frequency that I get? Then I say CI and C0 is there, CI and C0 not there, CS is present. And the third case will be C0 is present, CI and CS is not there. So like this, I try to find out three responses, one because of CI, one because of C0 and one because of CS. And from the three responses, using superposition theorem or a theorem similar to that, we determine the low frequency FH. So the frequency response will involve effect of CI, effect of C0, and third will be effect of CS. This will give me one frequency FCI, this will give me FC0, and this will give me FCS, and based on whichever is max out of this is going to be FL. So now our task is to find out FCI, FC0 and FCS. That's our task. So we will be able to find out FL out of it. So I think it is already 5 o'clock. So we'll see this on Monday morning. So let me take down the attendance.